You know what I love more than giving my opinion? Hearing how great my opinions are. So please feel free to leave a comment at the end of this episode letting me know exactly what part you loved the most. You guys, welcome back to the opinion you didn't ask for. I'm Hannah, and I am 30. You guys, I am 30. I have been waiting 10 years to be 30. I have been waiting an entire decade, okay? I feel about being 30 the way that Khloe Kardashian felt about turning 40. So excited. This is my decade. I did not celebrate my 30th with denims and diamonds and Snoop Dogg performing. Okay, that didn't happen. So we're not on the same level, but my excitement has been. I have been so prepped to be 30 because in my 30s is when I get my act together. I mean, watch out, world. You're not going to recognize me. I am going to be unstoppable. Okay, that has been my mentality with turning 30. I will say I have yet to do really anything that I have told myself. Like I've said, in my 30s, I will be in the best shape of my life. And did I low-key expect to wake up on my 30th and I'm 30 pounds lighter in the best shape of my life? Absolutely. Did I? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. I mean, that third baby did me dirty. Okay, my 20s was spent sacrificing my body for children. Love them. They really were not respectful to this body of mine. And it has nothing to do with the fact in my third pregnancy, I ate Taco Bell minimum 4 times a week, as early as 5 o'clock at night, but as also as late as 11:30 p.m. Sometimes my husband was driving to Taco Bell at 11:59 and it closes at midnight. We lived 2 minutes down the road. Very unhealthy. I've contemplated suing Taco Bell for not shutting me off. Like a bar tab, they shut you down. They tell you you're done. You have drank too much. Taco Bell, I needed you to say, girl, you will not fit in anything if you continue down this path. And they were right, okay? I should have been told no. My husband should have told me no, but he said pregnant me and the word no just don't go together, so he wanted to live. It's fine. So I gained a solid amount of weight in that third pregnancy that I am still working off. But I was like, in my 30s, that weight is gonna be gone. It's out the window. I am done with it. I am leaving that in my 20s. Newsflash, it's still here. We're fine. We're working on it. I also was like, we are gonna be rich. I mean, filthy, stinking rich, right? My 30s, we're gonna travel to all these countries I've dreamt of, because in my 20s, we traveled nowhere. So, I mean, I am ready. I'm ready to be the person that God wants me to be. And you know what? It hasn't happened yet. I am still in the same situation that I was a couple weeks ago. Because it's been a couple weeks, Hannah. What is wrong with you? Life doesn't just change in the flash of an eye because your number changed. That's not how this works. So, I am stoked to be 30. I had the best birthday, I will say. There was no Snoop Dogg, but there was no tears either. And for me, that's a huge win. I have cried every year on my birthday because of unspoken expectations. I have assumed something would be done, but I didn't ask for it. I didn't tell my husband that this is what I wanted, or I didn't tell my parents I would like to do this. I just assumed they would know. Like, you should know me well enough that you just surprise me. Even though I hate surprises, I'm a control freak. I want to be in charge. But maybe someone will randomly just do something crazy for me. And then at the end of the day, when nothing magical has happened, I am so disappointed and I have cried on every birthday. Like the song, It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. That should be my birthday theme song, okay? So I didn't cry this birthday, and that is like a huge win. What a gift to everyone in my life that was here on my birthday. They're like, she didn't cry, must have been a good day. But it was, because it was just so chill. There were no unmet expectations. I didn't need this big elaborate thing. I went to my son's flag football game. He did phenomenal. Couldn't have been prouder. I ate Chinese food. I had Cold Stone. And I went to bed. I mean, it was such a good day. And I realized I don't need to be where I want to be at 39 and right before I turn 40 today. I don't need to expect all these changes to happen super, super fast, and I just have what I want, because I see these people who are 10 years older than me. They've worked so hard for what they have, but the world we live in, you can order anything in a moment and it'll be delivered to your door, gift wrapped. You don't really have to work as hard for certain things nowadays. And I think that that has ruined our ability to give ourselves grace, to appreciate where we have been, and to have that motivation to want to work harder, to want to get to where we want to be. And then we can celebrate that. I don't think you appreciate things as much when they're just handed to you. When you didn't have to work for them, you will not appreciate it as much. And I have found you won't take care of it as well, because it wasn't something that you had to labor for, like the labor of love. So I know that when I get my dream body, it's because it was a labor of love. It's because I worked so hard and I didn't quit and I kept going, even though it took a really long time and was really hard. I know that one day when we buy our dream house, it's going to be because we worked really hard to be able to afford that. When I am on the beach in Greece, that's going to be my I made it moment. Okay, mark my words. I'm going to go to Greece. It's been on my bucket list since I was 12. I will be in Greece one day. Not the movie, the country. And I can't wait. But that moment isn't today. And you have to be okay with, you can't have everything everyone else has just because you want it. You need to be able to work for it. And I think that that's almost a lost thing, because we want what we want. And a lot of the times, because things are such fast shipping and you can have your delivery at your door in 20 minutes, and we don't appreciate the wait. We don't appreciate that time. And I want to be able to change that about myself, that I enjoy the quiet, I enjoy the chill time, that it's not crazy hustle and bustle and moving and working, and because maybe one day that will be my life. But for right now, I want to appreciate the stage of life that I'm in and to not rush it. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be pristine. It doesn't need to be picture worthy and postable and everything just looks phenomenal and everyone is envying me. And so I want to spend this next decade of my life being a better version of myself and working on myself and accomplishing goals, but not working so hard that I miss the moments that were actually worth celebrating. Because I don't want to accomplish a goal and then look back and be like, I did not take time to even enjoy this. I'm going to be so honest, I have been ready to quit this podcast since the day I started. I think in episode 1, I talked about I'm going to be 30 in a few months, because I recorded episode 1 months ago and I thought that that would be enough. I don't need to actually put it out there. I'm going to record it because I keep feeling like I'm supposed to, and then I'm not going to put it anywhere. It doesn't need to go anywhere. I'm going to move on from this ridiculous idea. And I kept telling myself that. And so I finally, I did it, and I realized, I'm like, people are going to be like, what in the world? She's now magically 30, but she was going to be 30 in a few months. But I wasn't ready, I think, to take that next step. I wasn't ready to put that out there. And now that I have, I'm ready to quit. I'm like, okay, well, there has been more support than I even expected. So now I feel anxious, and now I feel stressed out that I have to have every episode be so perfect and say something so deep and meaningful. And I've been panicking. So I was like, I think I might retire. I think 2 episodes, I retire. What a legend. People are going to be like, she's iconic. That woman only needed 2 episodes and she's done. Okay, that's honestly where I've been at. But I've had to remind myself to just chill out, that it's not the end of the world if it's not perfect, if it's not amazing, and that there's no right and wrong way to do this. I think I stress that there's so many people who have done this before me who are way more equipped. They have done research. They are prepared. They know the market. They know who they're targeting. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I'm just sitting on my couch recording this while my kid is napping, because that's the stage of life I'm in right now. And I don't have a beautiful studio with sound equipment and guys that work for me. And that is not my life. And I think it's hard because I look at Khloe Kardashian, who I love, by the way, and she starts a podcast and has a gazillion followers, and her podcast is doing phenomenal. But she's also A, 10 years older, and B, she has lived a different life. Her experiences are going to be different, and it's not the same, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be the same. It doesn't need to be perfect. And as a mom, I feel like I'm given ideas and I'm given instructive criticism by God in simple ways that I will understand it. There are people who are so educated that they can receive answers to things so clearly and in these deep, profound ways. Yeah, that's not me. So a few years ago, we have what our family calls, and I say my family, it's my husband and I, that's it. We call it the peanut butter parable. And no, it's not biblical, but it could be, like Revelations Part 2 kind of a thing. And it was basically God teaching me in the most simple, childlike way that I don't need to be perfect, that I don't need life to go perfectly, and that's the only way it's going to be successful. That's the only way to find joy. So when I had my 2 kids, I had 2 under 2, which that one about did me in. I was fighting for my life in the depths of motherhood, just struggling to survive each day. And we sold our house in Arizona. We moved in with my parents, but my husband's job was being difficult, and they were keeping him in Arizona longer than they were supposed to because he got a remote position. So the kids and I had to move in with my parents. He stayed in Arizona with his parents, and I spent an entire summer being a single mom living with my parents with 2 small children. I was struggling. I was having the hardest time. It was a really difficult time in my life. Well, in that time, my son was not even a year and a half. He's little over a year old at the time. And he was so adamant that he was going to starve to death. That boy was trying to not survive. I would beg him to just lick the chicken nugget on his plate. I'm like, please, just smell it. Maybe it'll go through your nose and into your stomach, and somehow you're going to get nutrients. This kid refused to eat. So if you are a parent and you have experienced this, you get it. You are just happy if they put anything in their mouth that's not a rock, okay? So one day I was making him a sandwich, and it was a piece of bread, some peanut butter, and some sugar. And yes, I said sugar because everyone looks at me like I'm a psychopath when I say that I eat peanut butter and sugar sandwiches. That is how I grew up. I did not know that was weird till I went to college. Okay? Didn't know that till my roommates were like, you're weird. No, I'm like, no, it's not. Try it. You'll like it. So he has this perfect sandwich. I place it in front of him. He's sitting at the table. He immediately opens the sandwich and just starts licking it. And I am mortified. Like, what are you doing, kid? Is this your first time seeing a sandwich? I know it's not because I've made them a million times. What is happening? So I walk over there and I'm like, no, no, no. And I fold the sandwich back up and I put it to his mouth. He takes a bite and I'm like, okay, there we go. You just needed a quick little reminder. It's like riding a bike. You'll figure it out real quick. Okay, we're good. So he's at the table. I'm standing in the kitchen watching him. And he immediately opens it back up and starts licking it again. And then he starts nibbling from like the inside out. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You crazy kid. That's not how you do it. And so I walk back over, fold it again, and we go through the same thing. And I walk away and I'm like, okay. And he does it again. And as I'm standing there, so frustrated with him for not eating this sandwich like a normal person, I just have this thought. And it was as if God was standing next to me. And it was, what does it matter? And I was like, well, it matters because he's doing it wrong. And the voice was like, is he doing it wrong or is he just doing it different? You wanted this kid to eat. He is eating. And now you aren't satisfied with how he's eating it. Because in your mind, there's only one right way to do this. But that's not the reality. If it's in his mouth, he's chewing it and swallowing it. He is getting the nutrients from this sandwich. It's just not going in his mouth the way you think it should. And I am standing there feeling so humbled, also feeling like an idiot for fighting with a 1-year-old on how to eat a peanut butter sandwich, that I was like, wow, okay, that is so deep. I needed that, right? Now you'd think, she learned this lesson and she's applied it in her life and everything's great, right? Wrong. Of course not, because I am so hard-headed, such a thick skull, it takes a few times. So a few months later, might have been a year, 6 months, I have no idea. It was me and time. We're not good. But a while later, my daughter was in the kitchen and it was lunchtime and you guessed it, we're making peanut butter sandwiches. And she goes, Mom, can I help make my sandwich? And if you understand that as a parent, you just want it to be done as fast as possible. You know how to do it. You can do it way easier, way less mess. You're thinking, why? Why do you want to help? But you're also supposed to be teaching them how to help and how to be responsible and take care of themselves. And you want to teach them the right ways to hold a knife. So it is my job at this point to let her help. So I say yes, and she grabs a chair and she has the 2 pieces of bread, some peanut butter. This time we had jelly, like apparently normal people. She puts the peanut butter on one side, she puts the jelly on the other, and she looks up at me and she's beaming. She is so proud of herself. She's like, Mom, I did it. I was like, good job, sis. Well, I looked down and the peanut butter was really kind of clumpy in the middle. And it wasn't on the edges at all. So I take the knife and I start smoothing it out so that it's perfect, that it's even and smooth. And I do it with the jelly. And I look down and I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, wow, that looks really, really good. And I look over at her and she looks so deflated. And she goes, why'd you do that? And I was like, oh, well, it wasn't perfect. And the minute the words came out of my mouth, it was the same voice that said, what does it matter? In that moment, I'm just standing there and she's just looking heartbroken. And she looks down at the sandwich and then looks back at me and she goes, I tried really hard. And I felt crushed because what do you mean that the sandwich wasn't perfect? What do you mean that you took the joy from this little girl? She worked so hard to accomplish something on her own. But because it did not look how you thought it should look, you took that from her to make yourself feel at ease with how it was. And I spiraled, you guys. I spiraled for days on this because I realized God tried to teach me months ago. It took 2 times, but I had this whole epiphany on how I look at life versus what reality is. And there is no right or wrong way to make a peanut butter sandwich. There are a million different ways. You could use 1 slice of bread or 2. There are so many different types of bread. I could be here for an hour listing them, but usually it's, wheat or white. And then you have crunchy peanut butter, regular peanut butter. There's a million different brands. Everyone has their favorite. And then you get into the types of jellies and jams and honey. And yes, for those of us, sugar. There's like 1% of us. I don't even know if there's that many in the world who do it. I'd love to know if I'm the only one at this point. Okay. I was raised by someone who was raised by someone who worked at a sugar factory. So she always said that's why. But I'm starting to think my mom she loves everything sweet. She has a crazy sweet tooth. I'm wondering if peanut butter just wasn't sweet enough for her that she's like, let's just douse some sugar on this. But that is how I grew up. I don't know really other ways to eat it. But then you come into how you cut it. Do you cut it down the middle like me? I love 2 rectangles. That is the perfect way in my mind. My husband is a triangle guy. And then my kids love 4 triangles. Everyone is different. And there is no right or wrong way to eat a peanut butter sandwich. There's no right or wrong way to make it. You might want to throw a banana on there or some Nutella. The world is your oyster when it comes to peanut butter sandwiches, okay? You have a plethora of options, and just because that is not how I would eat it does not mean it is not correct. And it's honestly been a huge changing point in my life for how I look at everything, how I look at people who worship. Are they worshiping in the way I think they should or I do? Or is there a better way to praise God? I don't know. If you're on a mountain on a hike and you feel him there, good for you. If it's at a pew in a church, that is great. If it's while listening to worship music, hallelujah, amen. There is no right or wrong way to do that. There is no right or wrong way to do the dishes, okay? You might like to hand wash every single dish. You might not believe in a dishwasher, or you might only believe in a dishwasher. You might not consider ever scrubbing a dish with a brush and some soap. Everyone is different. Everyone has their preferences. And this goes for roommates in college or spouses, or if you're living with family members and the way that they do it is different. Your way is not the only way. A few months ago, my in-laws came to visit and my father-in-law loaded the dishwasher to help out. My husband had cooked all the food, so he was doing his part and he loaded the dishwasher and he was like so proud of it. He's like, "Don't worry, Hannah, I loaded the dishwasher." And I look in the sink and there are still a lot of dishes in the sink. And I look in the dishwasher and there were like 10 dishes that were magically taking up the entire dishwasher. You guys, I can fit 50 dishes in a dishwasher. If you give me a minute, it's like Jenga. My husband doesn't understand it. But I was not about to insult my father-in-law by being like, try again, or I unload it and reload it the way I like it. There is no point. There is no right and wrong way. There are people that can be more efficient with loading dishwashers. And then there are people who are like 3 dishes, I'm going to start this. To each their own. However much your water bill costs, good for you, but it's not worth making someone else feel less than just to make yourself feel like your way is the right way. Everyone else should just jump on board with how you do things. Okay, that's not realistic. There's a million ways to do everything. There's a million ways to make a bed, okay? A bed. Some people don't like the top sheet. Some people don't know how to do hospital corners, okay? Yes, Mom, I'm talking to you. We don't care. We just tuck and fold, okay? We shove it under the mattress and just hope it doesn't come out. And then when we wake up and all of the sheets are in a ball on the bed, we just remake it every day, okay? There is no correct way to do what you're doing in your life as long as it's not illegal. Okay, there are right and wrong things in life. I'm talking about very simple things here, people. Your way isn't the only way. Like the phrase, my way or the highway. Why is that a mentality that we have? Why are we so obsessed with our way that we can't even comprehend that there may be a better way to do other things? Or there may be a less stressful way. Like, am I stressing myself out so much on how to make a peanut butter sandwich that I'm missing moments with my kids and they're just going to grow up being like, she's the crazy lady who's obsessed with how to make a sandwich. That's not important. Okay, it's just not important. You might have done something one way your entire life, and then someone invites you to try it a tiny bit different, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel foreign. What if that new way is a better way? What if it's an easier way? What if it's more satisfying the way that someone else does something? But if you're just so stuck on how you do something that it has to be your way and it has to be perfect and it has to be right, that you miss out on an option to try something that may change your life for the better. And I'm trying to have that mindset with this podcast. I have no idea where this will go. I have no idea who this will affect. It honestly might just be for me to help me find myself, my voice again, find a community of people who have been through this or who are going through this or who will one day go through this, and this will be something they look to and they're like, okay, I'm not the only person who's struggling at this phase of life. There is no right or wrong way. It's just different. And the moment we stop worrying about it being perfect, we can start to enjoy what is in front of us. So just remember, there is no right or wrong way to make a peanut butter sandwich, but the way you judge someone for how they make it says a lot about you and not about them.